Today on Gamer's Couch,
Mystic Vale.
Welcome to the couch. It's hot. We're looking kind of sweaty because it's hot. It's also Saturday and it's hot. Just saying, if we're weirder than usual and kind of maybe in the delirium, it's because it's hot and our brains are melting. We're still trying to record a cohesive Gamers Couch for you. Keep your fingers crossed that we manage. Today we're talking Mystic Vale.
I think to get the first pun out of the way, today is more of an adhesive show than a cohesive show. Because
Awesome. Your brain still works. Don't touch you. It's too hot. It's really... Oh, yes, please, keep.
It's really a bad time for me to go undercover with the druids in the woods, and this beard is not helping at all with these temperatures. But that's what we do, specifically what I do for you in the audience, to bring you some really good scoops on the Mystic Vale Druid community.
Mm-hmm.
I hear they're growing stuff. I'm not sure if they're all vaping, but they're...
Don't know. But let's talk about the game. As we do pretty much every week, we talk about rules and gameplay first and play a few turns, and you can see. And then we talk about what we liked or not liked about this game, and have a few funny stories and experiences that we share with you. And this week is a week where at the end of the video, I'm going to share a teaser for the next draw for initiative with you guys. Daniel has to guess which game's gonna come up, and I'm trying to come up with really good clues. I promise. Now, my love, are you ready to tell the folks about rules and gameplay?
Not really, but we'll do it anyway.
I gave you iced water. I mean, this does not look like ice water. There was like that big of a ice cube in there.
Where's the ice?
I had a Death Star ice cube ball in there.
Yeah, that's not very nature friendly.
Cools down the water. It works for me.
Well, let's talk about Mystic Vale. So, Mystic Vale is essentially a deck building game, but with a twist. In this game, you will always, or your deck will always only have 20 cards, and instead of buying and getting new cards, you modify the cards that you have by purchasing extra abilities that get slotted into the cards. If you see, this is what a blank card looks like. It comes in one of these
sleeves.
Or this camera.
Oh, we go to this camera.
Okay, so you see this one in the sleeve. This is just a backing, and then you can purchase cards, and these just get slotted right in, so that they now have this as a special ability. You may already discover that we have 3 different points where abilities can be. We have a bottom, a mid, and a top ability. Some cards in our starting decks already have an ability here, like this one, and you're not allowed to replace the one that's already on here, or you cannot replace one that you bought and added to this thing, so you can only fill up empty spots. There's even some cards, like this really expensive one, that has another thing, like almost a 4th modifier, that goes along this side, that goes along this side and modifies typically the entire card with some cool effect. These are usually the more expensive cards. You already see all the different types of cards that we start with. There's essentially this land that we can use to grow greens. And then there's a cursed land, which isn't as good. So in theory, there's some lore and some story in here, and I think that, as with most deck building games, that it comes through in the artwork and some of the parts, but to me, this is more of a mechanical game that is all about building your deck and upgrading your cards. In fact, I think I can go so far already for the likes and dislikes. This covers one of my favorite aspects of playing a deck building game. That is this continuous upgrading your card into a better thing. But that's not all. So just to give you the quick tour of what we have on the table, each player starts with their own starting deck of 20 cards. These are identical for all players. Then we have a market. We have level 1 cards, always 3 available here. Level 2 cards, same, and level 3 cards here. Typically, the higher the level, the more expensive the cards are. Then we have these general purpose cards here, or generally available cards here, that are similar to, let's say, the currency cards in Dominion that you could buy. And these just enhance then your cards on a very minimal level, but are also very cheap.
And I'm just...
You were doing the thing where you want to show me that you want to talk to me.
No, sorry, no, sorry, I don't know. I don't do the thing.
I see. So these cards here are all bought by a currency called mana, or mana, represented by these blue circles that are on the cards. And essentially, it's for each one that you have on your card, you have one to spend. So these level 1 cards here, for example, cost 2 or 3 to buy. These here 4 or 5, and it goes up to 9 in the level 3 cards.
Expensive shit.
These are generally available cards without too much of a special thing except giving you 1 mana. Just cost 2. And then there is a secondary currency, or actually multiple secondary currencies in here. You may notice that some cards have, next to the mana symbol, also these colorful little icons on them. These can be used to buy, enhancements which don't go directly into your card like these do, but stay in front of you and modify your overall gameplay, which can be purchased here. As you can see here, the cost is expressed as a combination of these colorful symbols that you need to have on your cards in the turn to spend. And there's also a level 1 and a more powerful level 2 thing. Some of them are just worth victory points at the end of the game. Some have some additional rule bits that might modify how the game is played out for you. Last but not least, you win this game by accumulating victory points, and that's what this pile is. And the game ends either if the victory points run out or if a determined amount of cards runs out. We just were lazy and set up everything. Typically, the amount of cards available to you are affected by the amount of players that are playing the game. So in a 2-player game, you have less cards available.
But that's just for the level 1.
Yes, you have in general less cards available, you have less victory points and speeding up the game than, let's say, in a 4-player game. And those are removed randomly. So for the 1 or 2 rounds we'll show you, this doesn't affect much to it. But if you want to complain at me in the comments, only at me, because Sarah made a point of setting this up correctly, because
as I do.
She's still shocked by the Cthulhu Wars math fallout. No? Okay.
I had 3 therapy sessions so far. There will be a 4th.
So, let me start by starting the game for, let's say, a quick 2 rounds. At the beginning, each player gets at random one of these mana symbols here, and one of them has a little mark on the back, which will determine the starting player. So Sarah has no mark, I have a mark, so I'll start this round. This stays with you and stays in this grayish non-blue version. because it might become important later on. So the first thing we do, or we haven't done yet so far, is actually flip the top card of our deck and make it visible. This is important. That card is not necessarily in your hand, but what's on the card is important. On your turn, you will reveal cards from this deck until you either stop or you run or reveal 4 of these red symbols on the cards. So ideally what you want to do on your turn is reveal cards while you still have 3 or less of these red doom tokens, or whatever you want to call them. If you ever get to reveal a 4th, you kind of screw up your turn. You have to pass, and the only compensation you get for that is you get to turn this thing over, and that gives you another mana for the next turn. So let me just illustrate by going forward. So
no, it's not doom. It's decomposition token. Because it's all about nature. You grow things for the green trees, and the red trees, they're...
It's the bio trash bin.
Yeah.
Okay. So my first deck card gets played. This will give me 1 mana if I don't manage to screw up, and then my next card will be revealed. Now, as I said, this isn't in the game yet, but the red icon counts. So I have 2 red icons out, which is still safe. So I can keep on revealing. And now I have a 3rd icon out, which now puts me in a bind. I could risk playing another card in hopes that there's not a 4th red symbol underneath, but a card with just the mana icon. Or I can check out and say I'll take the 2 mana I have revealed here and then try to buy a card for that. You know what? I'll take the 2 because there are some cards available here that are worth 2 points. You can buy up to 2 cards from this market and up to 2 cards from that market. Obviously, 2 mana only will be enough for me to get 1 upgrade here. It's not that terribly much. So what I'll do is I want to buy something. I think I'll just buy this card here, which tells me that this has an ongoing effect, saying I ignore all of these red icons except for 1 on this card. Why is that important? Well, if I slot this in here, and yes, you have to add the card or the upgrade you buy into one of the cards that you had in your row. So the thematic time, again, what you're doing here is you're actually having your crops planted and
you harvest.
And then you harvest unless you screw up, and these red symbols kind of represent you spoiling your crops.
Also called Monsanto.
No, that's the opposite of that. That's kind of getting the crops to...
So you haven't read the newest things about them. Okay.
Anyway, topical. So I purchased this card now, or this upgrade now. These cards go to my discard pile, which happens to be face down, so nobody gets confused. You probably won't see it when I put it there. So let me put it here, and.
I refilled
I purchased that, then we refilled the market, and now it is Sarah's turn.
I drew a blank first.
So nothing happens.
Another blank. And hey, another blank. And oh, guess what? Another blank. Come on, I really shuffled them well, and I should have them right side up. There's the first tree. And another blank. And
second tree.
And 3rd.
So Sarah has the same thing going on now. She can push forward and try to get a 3 mana and maybe get this what's this, cleansing rain. I'm sorry, this is all German, so I have to do
German lesson of the day
on the fly translation. For example,
If
this
that is an interpretation.
the what?
If you translate on the fly, it's an interpretation. You interpret, you don't translate. Anyway, that's 3. I have a huge glare from that lamp you have to read.
So you're telling me I'm more of an interpreter and less of a compiler? Programming jokes. Always fun at the tip.
Whenever I smartass, you smartass back right away. So can you read that? I have a huge glare from
Der reinigende Regen, or cleansing rain. No, we actually don't speak like this in German.
No, we don't.
Reinigender Regen. This one allows you to search your deck for one card, and then you can discard it. So this is great if you have cards that produce a lot of these whatever tokens. If you buy this is actually a good card for one of your empty ones. This one reduces the cost of all upgrades bought for the card in question by 2.
Yeah, and like that, I don't risk anything, so I'm gonna take it. Woo! That upgrade.
And that concludes your turn?
Yes, it does. I don't have any more money.
Each, or pretty much all of the different types of upgrades are here at least 3 times, because they tend to be in the top spot, middle spot, bottom spot. Obviously, if you remove some of the cards due to having less than 4 players in the game, it might be possible that you're not seeing a specific type of that thing. And that, again, concludes Sarah's turn. In fact, the game suggests that to speed up the entire thing, and I would almost recommend you do that from the first game, unless you're just playing a 2-player game and really want to take it slow, that other players start by preparing their field, their crops, so to speak. So meaning that you get to decide early on what you want to do. Actually, look, I made a very good call not taking another card because I already had them. But just to because I'm feeling risky today, I will reveal a 4th card, and it's not red yet. Ah, crap. So
no crop. We're planting.
Indeed. So what happens now is I went too far. I have 4 red symbols visible. That means I don't get to buy anything. My cards get discarded. The only consolation is that I get to turn over this token, which counts as an additional point of mana for the next turn. And now you see why this is helpful, that Sarah kind of revealed cards until she is at least at 3 red points, and can now...
I now have 4 money, and I want the spring for 4 money. And I'm gonna put it to a very wonderful... what is it? Fertile... Boden is earth, ground, couple of words for that. Help me. Help me. Help me. Field of gold.
Oh, anyhow, I think you already got a good idea of how this works now. I'm already prepared my next move. This time I wouldn't be as risky. This should be a lesson. Also, I don't get a second one of those if I now screwed up again. And similar to Sarah, I would have 4 points, which allows me to maybe get also one of these.
3 points.
Yes, but this one is a 4th point.
Sorry.
So I'm spending that
brain melt
to get this thing here. And
you also have a spring.
I also want to have a spring.
I'm gonna push it. I'm gonna push it. See if I got another tree. No! Up.
And it's, as you can see, all the cards typically are arranged in a way where the important icons are on the left side so that you can stack up things. to make it a little bit more visible. And if you run out of your deck, you do as in all the good deck building games, you start
Everybody's shuffling.
and that's how you. It's always the same card. It really wants.
Do you want to tell them what happened before we started recording?
No, I'm not card shaming you. So
I have tiny hands.
Now I have 3 out, but I really want to have this so I can buy something. So I'm going risky. Yes, and I'll call it quits. So the card on top of here you don't have to stop once there's a specific icon here, but I think we're good so far. So now I have in fact 5 points. I could go so far to either buy 2 of the lower one cards or maybe one of the better on top here. Let's see. There's also some cards like this one here that does not only generate mana or generate some of these icons, but actually generates victory points. This is how you get points from this stack there. Some other cards have these little helmets on them, and the helmets by themselves don't do much, but there are cards in here like this chieftain, that then has a specific effect. So in this case, this says you get 1 victory point for each helmet on this card. So I think I want to spend my 5 points to buy this rather big card. And since I'm planning on getting more helmets for this maybe later on, I think it's a good choice to put it on this blank card in hopes that I find 2 more that add some more helmets. Regardless, I still have a green and a red thing I can spend. There's, I think, 2 cards.
It's brown, but yeah.
It's the claw and the weed. And
because there's another red one seen. Oh, purple.
Yes, there's a purple one, which is essentially a wild. There's only three different icons: the weed, the star, and the claw. I think I will go with the sea. So this tree will give me 2 victory points at the end of the game, which is nice to have, but that's kind of meh. That doesn't enhance my every turn. But the sea says whenever I harvest a field, I get another mana. So this will stay in front of me, and now I get a free mana every time I will harvest in this game. I think you already have seen everything that you need to know to play the game. Yes, there are some rule interactions and some specific things that go with the cards, but ultimately this is while it's calling itself a card crafting game, it is a deck building game, and I think you get the idea of what's going on here. With you have markets where you buy stuff from. The really neat thing is that you don't end up with these 80 card decks that you have to shuffle awkwardly. You just get these very slippery cards with these protectors around them, which are difficult to manage for some of us enough. So you want to say something?
Yes, please tell them for how many players, how old, how long, and then we can move on into the next section while I take out all my plastic sheets.
So Mystic Vale in Germany, it is published by Pegasus. In I think the English-speaking countries, it's AEG. And I'm looking at the box because I want to make sure that you are getting the correct information. It is for humans which are aged 10 or older. It says there's game time 45 to 75 minutes, and it is a game for 2 to 4 players, and it was designed by John D. Clare. I read that right.
I'm so proud of you.
Yes.
And that leads us into likes and dislikes.
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 I wanna make a judgment call before you get to say anything.
Go on. I need some water. My
I
brain's
want
definitely
to point
melting.
out that it is not allowed on the Gamers Couch to give any negative points for if your own clumsiness is in any way or form getting in between yourself and the game.
Okay.
This is a new rule on this show.
Really? I didn't realize.
So now you can say something.
Okay. So, in general, I really like deck building games, and I don't mind having a huge stack of cards if there's a possibility for me to get rid of cards. So I have like...
So you don't want to have a big stack of cards?
No, I mean, like, I don't care, like, mid-game having a huge stack, but then I can change my strategy there and get rid of the crappy things. That's totally fine. I don't really like it if my stack is only growing or it starts huge to begin with. And that is very much due to my tiny hands, and I'm kind of like a
20 cards or
kid. No, I have trouble shuffling like this. I kind of go like with the kid because I'm just tiny. And now imagine having that with 80 cards. I would shuffle very long, or would definitely bug you to buy a great shuffling machine. That said, I don't mind in general having a bigger stack, but I really like that you only have 20 cards here. So by remembering what upgrades you put in what cards, you can pretty much, you can kind of guess what's going to come up very likely, and then either play it rather risky or maybe not in a certain turn. And that is very cool for, just replayability. You never know the cards by hand because you kind of design your cards with whatever is going to come up at the market. And again, if you play with less than 4 players, some cards might not even be in the game. It's kind of tricky in the beginning when you play the game for like first couple of times. You're gonna be occupied with peeling away release paper or stuff, because some of when they are shipped in the box, they're kind of milky, and you're supposed
Actually,
to
this is one of the, so you again, the manual does a good call by saying, hey, just
don't care about it in the beginning.
Start playing with them. These will go off with time, and it doesn't impact, at least.
Otherwise, you would have the plastic thingy stuck together in the box, and you would probably have to have an X-Acto knife to get them apart. Yes. But everybody at the table then, when it's not their turn, will start peeling off those papers. Let me tell you, I've experienced that here.
And similar to games with a lot of prep time, like Millennium Blades, you want to sit down and prep the stuff for this
before
your guests or your friends arrive, because all of these want to be sleeved, and that just takes some time. Find some nice afternoon.
Listen to a podcast or talk to your spouse and prep the game. This is, other
Which
games
for me
have to be
like listening to a podcast.
Thank you. To a good podcast or to a crappy one?
No, it's a
give the right say the right thing.
It's a one-directional thing.
Thank you. With other games, you got to punch a ton of cardstock pieces there. So of course it takes a bit of prep time. I don't mind that. I like the fact that you're working with those see-through bits, and you're kind of like just enhancing or upgrading your card. I don't know very many games, let's say no other game that does that, and I find that really, really nice that, people come up with new ways to Well, I have a little bit of a twist there to the deck building game. I like that you have two different kinds of markets where you have your upgrade to your own deck, and then you have the upgrade to your whole game, and maybe make things easier for you, or just victory points. But hey, let's face it, you win with having a lot of victory points. So,
and these cards here also are worth victory points. They have So there's two different icons for victory points. The blue ones, as seen in this card, generate victory points whenever you play this card, and the gray ones are worth victory points at the end of the game, similar to what you see on these things. Yeah. There's actually one symbol I didn't show you, which is kind of important, and that's this green tree.
But they saw it here.
Yes, the green tree cancels out one of the
red trees,
the doom tokens,
because they make a brown tree together.
Yes, which could essentially, it's almost like a draw another card effect, but it's weird because it doesn't say draw another card, but
you could have that on a card with two red trees, and then you cannot necessarily draw a new card. It depends.
And that also allows you to maybe counter one of these cards that have a single red tree on them to make them affordable. Because yes, you can. Theoretically, nothing keeps you from creating a card that looks very much like this. So having two red trees, meaning that if you are unlucky and have two cards of these in the deck, you immediately lose a turn if they come up. So that is one of the considerations that are kind of important.
And that's a nice thing, what I meant earlier with replayability. Every game's gonna be different just by the way you compose your cards in the end, and I like that a lot. This is very quickly played, so you don't have a lot of downtime, especially if you go with prepare your row while it's not your turn and just stop at whenever you want to stop, or the third tree, and so you kind of already spend the time thinking about, okay, what do I want to do, which upgrade do I want to have, am I going to play risky, am I going to play rather safe, while it's not your turn. So even with 4 players and having some downtime there, of course it doesn't feel like that. And I like that a lot. And if you play it with 2 people, it's pretty much just as fast as we showed you in the later turns here. It's no downtime at all.
And that is actually something that comes quite natural. So at first we played this with and now we're doing the reveal. And
because we're the nice people and we go with the manual. If the manual says... But try this first, and then it says advanced rules, and I didn't even read the rules for advanced yet. We only did that after the first couple of rounds. It was like, okay, if you're a seasoned gamer, go with the advanced right away, right?
Yeah. So. That is, as I said, that is something that came natural, I think, after the second play we did of this, because you just, I actually can start revealing cards until I get to my third red tree, and then this plays really fast. I do also like the idea of having 2 different markets. Essentially, you have, I think it's fair to say there's 3, at least with the base game, there's 3 different paths of where you can go with the strategy, which is either you try to generate a lot of mana to buy powerful cards that generate then victory points or are worth a lot of victory points, or you go for these icons that allow you to buy some of these cards that also generate victory points or give you other advantages. Or then the third, and that's the thing, I think that is, I don't want to say underdeveloped, but it never really made much of an appearance in all of our games, that is going after these helmets.
I did. In one game
with the effect. I think it's I'm sure it's powerful, but I haven't seen someone going straight for that, because that is also
No,
very...
it wasn't. It was not the only thing that
Yes,
I did.
I would say you pick 2 out of those 3. The thing with the helmets that might be a little bit difficult to gauge, to see if that turns out, is not only do you need a card with a effect that helps you, you also need fitting cards. Like this is pretty good to this card, so you add two more helmets to this on the bottom row. But sometimes you end up with a game where you have a couple of these where they're in the center with no effect, or you have the ones with effect, but the ones you need are on the same kind of lane, which isn't too difficult. You don't have to have them all on the same card necessarily, but some or most of them are something like that, where it says you get one for every helmet on this card.
Another thing that I think is quite important to think about is not only collecting the victory points for the end, but for every turn that you make. So those cards that give you victory points whenever you play them, they're rather powerful, and they collected quite a couple of victory points for us there. So I wouldn't discard the thought of having maybe them and a few of the tree cards as a strategy as well, and then only go for other cards when you get them, but not have a focus on them.
And I think actually the helmets are only for the cards. I thought there's some...
No, there were some that referenced another card, I think.
Might be. You'll
whatever.
Figure it out. I mean, essentially, that's nothing you plan for. You have to roll with the cards that are coming out.
Exactly. The only thing that I'm kind of, as he said, not best friends with is the slippery way the cards are. And it might be that you find yourself crawling on the floor or reach underneath the table every time you shuffle them, if you don't have a table like we do that has a vault there. So maybe have a guardrail around your table or something to not... Don't.
No, I tried to be nice so that
I don't want to feel it. No, so it actually makes me cringe.
You have discovered another positive about this game: the game within the game, where if you do like these, removing these.
Can you do that when there's no camera and stuff around, and I can leave? I don't want to have that cringy noise. Please. But yeah, I think it's a very solid deck building game. There's expansions available, I heard. I haven't looked at them yet.
There's at least 2 by now, maybe more. I mean, it's I think it's very simple to see that this lends itself to expansions. You would just add on either more of these cards or more of those cards.
If you don't want like Dominion, you could go for that game. It's pretty much the same spot for me. A lot of mechanic, a lot of different kinds of expansions that do things, but it's a deck builder.
It is different for me in terms of how the market is set up, where you don't have like the full selection available for you all the time. This is
makes sense.
Almost like Machikoro for me in terms of, these are the 3 that are out here. Maybe that's getting changed. I haven't actually had a look at the expansions so far, but this is a game I can see being played more often and being worth expanding upon.
Definitely.
Yes, it is a little bit more maintenance with you have to sort of unsleeve all the cards and reorder them at the end, so that kind of goes against having multiple games in a short succession. But to be fair, this is not a specific issue with this game. That's a general thing for deck builders.
You have to
clean up.
and it doesn't matter if you sort them or if you pull them out of the stack and then sort them only into 3 stacks rather than 1,500
Yes.
single stacks.
Yes.
That's that.
And
Shall
I have just mentioned this cursory. There is theme in here. I do like the artwork too that are on the cards, but it's very small. So it's
I like the tree cards.
Really just some of that. Thing. I can see some of the pictures and the names kind of coincide with what the effect is that a specific upgrade has. But as I said initially,
it's only so much.
It's very much a mechanical thing for me, and that happens to have nice pictures on it. It seems that there's a plan to have more of world building. There's actually those different druid clans are explained. So each player has a different starting deck identified by this rune on the back and the different color, and those represent different
clans.
Druid clans. Those seem to be more important in what I've seen from the upgrades. Okay, sorry. Sorry, expansions, not for me.
Brain is melting. Shall we rate?
More water, yes.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. No, I like it. But then again, I really like the minion too. I like the simple.
I like
deck builders.
it. I also like it for a deck builder. It is still a little bit too simplistic. So the thing I really like about this is the push your luck aspect of, when you go through your deck and have that tension in addition to that. But for me, that it seems that goes with the sacrifice of having very simplistic interactions with the cards. Now, Base Dominion also has rather simplistic interactions, but I mean, this came out way after that. So
yeah, but this is more like do the best with what you've got, because you have every stack available to buy in Dominion. You don't have here. You have 3 cards.
I think,
and that's what I like about it.
I think I would have. I'm looking forward to seeing if there's something coming out that has some more complex combo effects within the cards than what is in here, and that's just personal preference because I do like. Kind of not only picking, I take that card because that gives me more victory points. I take that card because it plays off that card. It cancels the other thing. Yeah. I'm looking for more deeper combos that can be built with that, and that's not quite here yet. Still a very good game and something we play on a regular basis.
Yeah. Well, it scratches the itch of, okay, let's have a deck builder with do the best with what you get and a little bit of push your luck, which is so not Dominion. Dominion scratches another itch for me there in the deck building world. But let's move into our last section, funny stories and experiences. Funny stories, not so much, but a lot of experiences with sometimes being really stupid in the way you compose your cards. It might have been, I'm not saying that it actually happened, but it might have been that somebody at the table had 2 trees in one card.
Two red trees?
Uh-huh.
I see.
But that only in one card.
That is unfortunate.
And it kind of got, I don't know if it had some, double-sided adhesive tape or something, but it always came with another tree right after that. So it might have been that somebody was kind of cursing at the table. It might have been that it was me. Who knows? It's very
also,
mystic. There is a veil of mystery about that
yes,
topic.
Also very surprising how often that one card can show up if you know that your deck has 20 cards.
I'm pretty sure that it got a companion tree.
Other cards in there, but
No. It definitely cloned itself, and I'm very sure there were like 10 cards with 2 trees in there in the end. But you really had a lot of victory points and drive and progress with those trees. You were really good. Every time we played, you were really good with these cards here. You didn't really... they helped you out a lot, so you were able to buy a lot of very expensive cards, but no matter if we played with 4 or with 2 players only, it kind of seemed like you were really lucky the way you drew your cards, so that you got a lot of mana once, so that you could buy the cards that have those tokens, and early on. And in the end, though, it was always kind of surprising to find victory points in the stack that throughout the game you're not aware of, so you feel like you're behind all the time. And then the gap between the winner and the next, so second or last player, it wasn't that big, actually. That I found that kind of surprising.
For me, it was. This is as almost with all games that have different abilities. I still think the passive abilities here that enhance every turn for you are something everybody should fight for to get first. This 1 extra mana, or there's a 2 extra mana here. These are really powerful.
Yeah.
Obviously, the earlier you can get them. Then there's some like these that allow you to convert mana to icons. There's actually a rule I haven't mentioned. There's you can convert symbols to a symbol of your choice if you have enough of them. So these are pretty good to get earlier.
And just like with every other deck building game that we played, it's I think deck building games are prone to have other conversation at the table while you play. So while everybody takes their turn, you're not really agonizing over your turn, and you kind of have enough mental space left while you choose, okay, which option is the best for me to go, and this turn and then the next turn. You have enough mental space left to actually have another conversation also going on with the other players at the table, which I very much liked. There was one game where I was just watching because it's only for 4 players, and I really liked just watching and chatting and you guys playing. Yeah. And I think that's enough about the game. Shall we hop into the teaser part?
Okay.
Are you ready?
I am super ready.
Do you want to take another sip of water to cool your brain so that it... So, on Wednesday, my dear audience, we will release a new Draw for Initiative video. It's going to be episode number 50, so get ready for a special episode. And the game that we're gonna paint is a cooperative game.
Pandemic.
No, we already painted that.
Descent.
No, we just painted that last time. The last video was Descent. Breathe, easy. Don't strain a muscle or something.
Mansions of Madness.
No, we already painted that. Let me give you a clue, for God's sakes.
Okay.
Other than it's a cooperative game. Sheesh.
I thought I was already being tested.
No. I never test you.
Okay.
It's it comes from a video game.
XCOM.
No, we painted that. Also this season. There's more games that come from a video game that are cooperative. It has very cute minis, and it has a lot to do with programming.
I was about to say Doom, but Doom is not a purely cooperative game. It's it's a
Overlord
all
thing.
you terrible people against me game.
Do you have a clue? Do I need to give you more clues?
I think my APM, my actions or APS, my actions per second are too low to make an educated guess on this one. But I was never much into Defense of the Ancients or their other offspring, which turned into, I think it's called League of Legends or something like that. I think
You don't think it's the bomb?
I'm not qualified for this. I'm too much of a lemming that just walks from A to B, following a very basic set of rules, and is not as high functioning as one of those programming slots can make you be.
Oh, well, honey, not everybody can be a programmer. That's fine.
But I would also like to have a mech to walk around in and
Really?
burn stuff. And actually, that given the current news, where there's demonstrations in northern parts of Germany due to that everything is burning, maybe having a mech running around burning everything isn't the
No.
most optimal.
No.
But if you have an area where you can do that I can see that being fun.
It's called Burning Man. No? You just go out to the desert, you bring your mech, and you burn shit. Could be the Burning Man 2.0. No? Oops. Oh well. I think that was clue enough for what's going to come up. I'm not going to tell you what the special thing about that episode is going to be. You have to find out on Wednesday, 9 a.m. CET. The video will be up. So check it out. We're also going to be back with the next Gamers Couch next Sunday, so come back to the channel then. If you are interested in artwork, you can of course also check in on Monday with Art Day and on Thursday with Beyond the Lines. If you want to hear me ramble about my week, well, Talk O'Clock is the show for you to check out, and they're all in the playlists on this channel. If you're new, subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified whenever there's a new video. And if you liked us rambling about games, having horrible puns, and
if we didn't manage to scare you off this week, there's another chance next week.
Yes, and you can hit the thumbs up button for that. We would very much appreciate that. You can find us on all the social medias that are in the description box below, as well as BGG. So boardgamegeek.com. There's playlists for both Draw for Initiative and Gamers Couch, and we're gonna talk to you there if you like.
We're also talking to you at other places if you like.
Yes,
But,
of course. But if you are on the Geek forums, we're there too, so you can chat with us there. Until then, we're gonna go now. Have maybe the AC running for a bit. No, don't. We have the half screen now.
I will now go back into the woods and live my life with just a loincloth running around.
Is that a promise? Sorry.
Where the sun won't shine, and then I will maybe wrestle a bear or something like that. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't think we have bears in our woods. Maybe I can.
Squirrel?
I can wrestle a squirrel. I can totally wrestle a squirrel. Small.
You saved one. You
A
saved
small
the
squirrel can be rustled.
You saved the baby squirrel. You can... Anyway, we're gonna go now. Have fun, folks. Happy Sunday. Take good care. See you next week.
Goodbye.
Bye.